Welcome, everybody, to our August edition of Coffee and Conversation. Today, we are here with Stephanie Thomas. She is the VP of our Early Childhood Education Programs at YWCA. So we're excited to listen and learn. And Stephanie, tell us, take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here with you and tell you a little bit about enrichment programming and what it does for our early childhood education program, and a little bit about how enrichment can be done at home and some of the key elements that you want to make sure you're doing. As we look at enrichment and in YWCA, over the years, we have hired in different organizations to work with enrichment for us. And about 5 years ago, we really looked at how enrichment can impact the programs that we have, and we decided we really needed to do enrichment in-house. And the difference in that is other enrichments came in and just focused on one area. And what we really wanted enrichment to do was to enrich our whole program. So really to connect to the curriculum that we were doing, to connect to the weekly themes or ideas that we were connecting with, and to give teachers some support for the time that they were there in identifying some of the observables during that program, connecting them to some of the assessments that we do so that they could specifically have guidelines of here are some points to be looking for, and here's how you could directly put it into children's assessments. So it also gave them some time savings. The other aspect of that is when we could do that, it allowed us to be able to offer information for parents about our enrichment that they could then take home, and that we could connect it into our family nights throughout the year. And one of our favorite aspects is that it could really connect to how the classrooms were responding, what we were seeing, the response from what the teachers liked, but extend that conversation and extend that enrichment throughout the whole week for our teachers. And so our enrichment specialist develops a curriculum that has key points for her programming, but then gives teacher points for that for the month of songs with rituals that should be done throughout the week. If we're adding in yoga, the yoga that would be done throughout the week. So there's a lot of opportunity for it to enrich our whole program, not just that half an hour session or that, a 20-minute session that people are coming in for. And so we've really been able to take advantage of that. And it's one of both our teachers and our children's favorite aspects of our program, because ongoing, the kids look forward to it, and it gives teachers enrichments for their program that they don't have to come up with on their own, and that they're really seeing progress in their classroom around. And so all of our enrichment curriculum ties back to our program. And so we've laid out what the year in general, some highlights will be, and focuses on that. So one of them, in the school year, we're typically doing music and movement and really doing breathing exercises within that, some ritual exercises within that, and some, which develops some social emotional skills, but also some self-regulation pieces. And we work with that throughout the year. We add in a couple other things. And then in the summer, we really refocus that into STEM. All of the enrichment is really hands-on, has a lot of focus on the children, centering some of the breathing that they do, songs that can be repeated that connect them to language, to some early math concepts. And we'll kind of just talk a little bit about some of those things that we work with. So in every enrichment, we do a welcome song, which really is a start. It works on names. It works on some of the social emotional pieces of friends looking at others' emotions, understanding how others in the classroom interact. And it's really funny as we go through enrichment through the week, as soon as Trisha, who's our wonderful enrichment specialist, as soon as she walks into the room, the kids start to sing that song. They run to her. They are so excited about it. And just a lot of those repetitive or ritual pieces make such a difference in kids connecting to what's going to come next, to be able to show them some structure for that piece so that they can feel safe in that environment and feel very welcomed. Mindfulness is always a part of that piece, really working on breathing, understanding what your body feels like, some self-control pieces, some approaches to learning, interacting with others. And then an activity intro. So she'll discuss the activity, what they're going to do for the day. A lot of times things are connected to other artists or other art or musicians that are out there. So we might do a little lesson about that. And then the activity. So for our lesson plans, the teachers always get to know what that activity is going to entail and then what might be needed, like paint shirts or, we're going to need a big clear space in the room or whatever that is so that can be worked with. And then the concepts that they're working with. So whether we're exploring lines and shapes, whether we are working with colors, whether we're working with social emotional. So those pieces are pointed out. So again, the teachers can connect that to some of the concepts that they're looking for in each child to see what stage they are at and what the next learning piece may be for them. So we can continue to develop curriculum based on that scaffolding that each child needs. And then kind of what medium we're going to be in. Are we going to be working with art or fabrics or, what is going to be in that self-expression piece that's going to happen in the class. And then we always end with a mindfulness song and I love you ritual. And we can talk a little bit about that. So all of those things can be connected to any enrichment that you're doing, and all of them can be connected to activities at home. And so I brought just a few things to kind of show how we would do that. So one of the things that we looked at in our mindfulness was line breathing. And so, my blur is on, just showing the teachers how you take a line and have kids trace it and breathe up and down as you're doing that. And then being able to give those same directions to parents. So it's not only at school and during our time with the kids, but we're expanding that learning into home base so that those skills are developed and connected from kids' first learners, their parents and family, and within the classroom. And so we're able to do that not only with simple lessons that get to go home, but also through family nights where we get to work with some of the programs, some of the songs, and things so that parents actually walk through that with us. Oftentimes they'll hear their kids doing the songs and pieces. So it's nice when we can also connect it to things that they can then do. All right, so this would be an example of a line breathing, right? So we're able to take our finger, go up and down on that, breathing up and down, really focusing kids on their selves, their body, what up and down breathing might look like. And then enrichments for home, go home and they, they connect that activity for parents, and then they connect what the whole month is going to look like for parents so that they can also work with that. So line breathing was one of the options that we did. There's also a lot of pieces around circle breathing. And so this is an example of what we do with that with kids in classroom, and then talk about different objects at home that can be used in that format. So you don't have to have that piece. One of the ones that we're doing right now is pinwheel breathing. And if you can think of what that would look like for kids, this is a visual, obviously. So being able to take this, take a deep breath in as kids do, and blow. And so we do that with a pinwheel at school. If you don't have a pinwheel at home, we teach kids to do it with their finger. And if you can all do that at home, you're looking at taking a deep breath in and blowing it out and working through some of the quick activities that connect kids to their breathing, to what their body feels like, and how they can self-regulate as they go through. Those are all a small part of our enrichment as we go through, but really important pieces that then connect throughout all of our enrichment. As I talked about, we do a lot of STEM activities in the summer, really explore different artists, different activities, different types of art, and then do simple activities that could be done at home. So one of the activities, and I'll hold it up, is doing art that really, again, if you look at this, focuses kids' attention into very fine motor activities, but gives them a very playful purpose in doing so. They learn about an artist, and then they learn about how to do some of those concepts themselves. And so they were, the boards were already cut with holes, but they were able to then thread that, be able to work at always open concepts, always concepts that look different for every child that participates. Some of those activities are connected together, not just individually, but have a whole class working on a project together. And every classrooms will be different. Really being able to send home materials to explain what concepts we're working on through that project and how parents can explore that at home. All of those are a piece of what we're doing. I'm going to show you one more piece. That is an infant piece. This is an infant piece where they did fabric, and the kids were able to do this. We talked about concepts again, and then really just had the kids explore with putting their hands in, pushing it around, feeling different textures, and they created their own infant art. And so enrichment, again, has all of those concepts that are connected to our learning base. It connects kids to having fun with learning. Everything that we do needs to be through play, through individual exploration, and connected to what kids are interested in, and also to kind of what level they're at. And so our programs are scaffolded from infants to toddlers to preschool and kind of in through school age. In the summer, we do add in school age programming. I wanted to talk to you briefly about an I love you ritual, because I talked about that in the beginning. And really, an I love you ritual is a great ritual that anyone can do at home, that you can do in any classroom that you are with kids. The concept is really that an I love you ritual needs to be playful, it needs to bring presence, and it needs to bring touch. And those concepts can be brought into anything. So when we start out, we take a song that could be a ritual song like Row, Row, Row Your Boat, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, something that's repetitive, something that the kids connect to. A lot of them might already know it. Some of them, they aren't. Sometimes they're not things that kids already know. And so we're teaching that concept first. But for a teacher in a classroom, you'd be starting that song, introducing that song, singing that song, and really making sure that it's playful, that it's fun, that the kids have some sort of interaction, and that their hands are connected to it, or their body is connected to it, that they're kind of feeling that song, that they're feeling that playfulness with it. And then the presence means that you're actually connecting to children on it, that you are a part of it, that you're looking at them, you have an eye connection, that they're all feeling and doing the song with you. And then touch, which really can be harder in a classroom environment than it can be at home. And so one of the things to think about at home is, how are you putting yourself present in that moment, connecting to the child in that moment, and then actually where can touch fit in? So in a classroom, that's a little bit tougher. If you envision row, row, row your boat, where we're all doing the same motion, you can see the kids moving, you can see the song, you can see the playfulness of that. You can do it in different ways, standing up, sitting down, laying down, right? All different ways to be playful with that and have fun with that. You can do it while you're walking, different concepts that you're exploring with kids. But bringing in touch means, how are our hands connected? Does it need to be adult to child? Could it be other children connected too? So that touch aspect really makes it different and makes it connected to an I love you ritual. that from some of the training that we're working through with conscious discipline, and really being able to connect to kids, have kids feel welcome, and have them have that strong belief in themselves. And so really important pieces that if we start in infants, those same I love you rituals continue on through preschool. We can advance concepts within that, but that ritual stays the same and really connects kids to the feeling and to the connection that they have to that program, to that teacher, to that class, or those the classmates. And so all of those rituals are really important as a part of enrichment. And so that's why we decided to bring it back in-house. And I think that anybody doing enrichments at home can take any of those concepts and connect them to learning for their child at home. That's the only specific pieces I had for presentation today. If you guys have questions or thoughts, please let me know.
Thank you so much for that, Stephanie. I love this topic of enrichment as a former teacher myself. I do have a couple questions and clarifications, if that's okay. I heard you say that talking about I know you have a full-time enrichment development specialist. Does she travel to different sites? Is she based in one location? Can you speak to this, just logistics of that a little bit more? I'm curious.
Absolutely. So what we've decided to do is to do an enrichment specialist. She works, she rotates centers weekly. So every day she's at a different center. The same concepts are brought to every center, and she hits every classroom. When we were bringing in people before, we weren't able to do every classroom, whereas this gives us the ability to do every classroom. And so every week we do every classroom. I would say that she travels 3 days a week, and 1 week she really works on classroom needs. So if there's potentially with a child that has needs or connections that the teacher's working on, that other week she works with teachers on how to assist with that. She also works on developing her curriculum and developing the ideas and concepts that she's bringing, and all the materials that we're sending home and sending to the teachers.
Awesome. Would you say that these enrichment plans and materials are sort of co-created with every classroom? How does she come up with all of that?
Yeah. Well, I have to give props to Trisha, because she is a wonderful staff person. And if you've ever met her, is so enthusiastic for the work she does. And she understands the importance of enrichment for a classroom and the importance of bringing those skills to teachers so that they can continue to do that throughout the week. So her concepts, she takes specifically the theme that we have and then searches pieces for that. So specific books to be reading, specific songs that are connected, artists that might pull into that, and then creates her work from there. She always gives them a language and literacy piece that's a part of it. And then the creative piece, there's vocabulary words connected to music, connected to the instruments that we're different using, and then the mindfulness piece. And so she really works with set concepts. So every it's done in a month, because again, there's some scaffolding throughout that, but every time those same concepts are connected, so teachers know what they're going to be able to take and use, and she gives them to them in time so that they can add them to their curriculum pieces throughout the year.
It's just such a wonderful, holistic way to do this. I know teachers have so much on their plates, right, and it's wonderful to have that support person who says, here's the theme, and then here's where we can go with it, and here's what we can pull in, and here's how to scaffold it. That is, I can't really overstate the value of that.
And that's really why we decided to do it in-house, because while everyone enjoyed the other pieces, we couldn't support teachers in the way that we wanted to by bringing in outside people, because it was a side note to what they were already doing. And instead, this is really enriching, not only for the kids and families, but for the teachers in the program, because it's this holistic view of here's where we want to go, and here's how we can support you in doing that. And we luckily have hired an enrichment specialist who is absolutely wonderful, just has this wealth of knowledge and connects literally to every child. You walk in and watch it, and it's this wonderful moment, and so it's just really one of my favorite parts of the program, because I do think it does a lot of different aspects of what we need in early childhood.
That's incredible. I think I heard you say that the enrichment activities during the school year are more music and movement based,
Mhm.
and then the summer takes more of a STEM focus. I'm wondering if that's strategic, just given that most of the school year is kind of cold
Mhm. Mhm.
and finding ways to be creative and give kids space to express themselves vocally and kinesthetically. I'm just curious about that.
Yeah,
That's up to me.
it really is, for a couple of reasons. We do music and movement in the beginning. If we think of our calendar year, sort of like you would remember from school, right? So you kind of have this time where everything starts and everything's new, even though you've gone to school before, right? It's a new start and it's new. So there's always kind of this reconnecting. You might have a new teacher. You definitely will have different kids in your classroom. So music is a very welcoming and connecting form of art. And so there's a lot of concepts that can pull kids in and pull kids together and make them feel welcome. And rituals also do that, right? If we know what we're expecting, if we're connected to what's coming next, that brings a peace and it brings a connection. So we start out with that to be able to really connect the kids, have them trust Trisha, have them trust the teachers, have them feel safe about all of the activities that we're going to do, kind of build on that throughout the year. Also, change can bring disruption for kids. So really focusing on the breathing again, really focusing on some of the yoga concepts that then, if we build those in the beginning, can be explored the whole year and used throughout the classroom versus just at that time. And so those pieces continue on. And then summer feels like change again, right? We do often have changes. We have friends that leave us to maybe go to something that's next to, their house because they're going to go to kindergarten or different pieces. And so, and we have kids that join us and school age that joins us. And so we have the opportunity, as you said, to get outside, to use the environment a little bit more. We do introduce some pieces with nature and pieces in our enrichment. And so all of that is kind of this continuum throughout the year. It's messier, it's outdoor. Now, with our music and movement, there are often things that we do create that use it. We've made sure that we've brought in some cultural aspects of music into the songs that we sing, the books that we read, the instruments that we're using, and those pieces. So that connects to our bias curriculum throughout the year. And summer just gives us, as you said, that opportunity to be messy, to be outside and to change.
There's so much great research about music and breathing and nervous system regulation, all of that. I can tell you're really building a staircase through these programs to set kids up for success, whatever they do in the summer, whatever they do next year. That's so cool.
Right. That's our hope, is that kids can learn what their body feels like when they're regulated, or if it's not, some things that help them get there. And so it is funny. Trisha was just telling me a story yesterday about, there are always naysayers in there. And my infants can't, do this or that. And as that's okay. It's not about doing it. It's about working with them, seeing the progress throughout. And she's like, now I come in and start to see a song and I see kids start to move their lips to breathe, and blow. And she's like, you wouldn't necessarily think that in the beginning of the year that, 6 months in, these kids are going to see me and they're going to start blowing their mouth the way that we do when we blow, kids who can't speak yet. So that connection to body and breathing, and as you said, the importance of that, the importance of what music does for language and literacy. So all of those things connect to the importance of enrichment, but certainly are built ongoing throughout the year.
Thank you for that. I have one more question about the I love you rituals. I'm just curious, do they, is the ritual different for every classroom? Does it stay the same for an entire school year? What's kind of the thinking around that?
Yeah, I mean, As you can think about infants through school age, that continuum can look different. There can be I love you rituals or goodbye, or, however that connection is for you, that are the same, and sometimes they're different. Our school age kids move through concepts, can connect to them quicker. So they may have more throughout a summer or time frame than an infant classroom is. Typically, they are connected to age groupings. We work on kind of that same concept. We have a curriculum that we put out for infants, for toddlers, for preschool, and for school age. And so those concepts are connected to generalizations. However, Trisha and the teachers work a little bit differently on there. So there's always a plan, and then there's the reality. That's the flexibility of early childhood that we all work through. And so there may be a class where there's kids who need more regulation work. And so they start out with their welcome song, and really that ritual around the song, around the breathing, is what they get done that day. And that's what their focus is. And then they'll have their goodbye versus the full concept. And so it really does have to become individual per classroom. And so the plan starts out the same and really varies based on the needs of the classroom and where they are. So then you pick up the next time based on where you got to, what the feeling for those kids are. And sometimes you'll have kids who are really sailing through, and then 1 week is just not their day. And so that has to look different, and you have to be flexible, and you have to work with what the kids need. And so Trisha and the teachers are wonderful about looking at that differently and being like, okay, we were going to do this, and today we're going to go back to this, which they're kind of connecting to and wanting to sing more. So.
Yeah. Everything you've described, is the word that comes to mind is responsive. It's just so responsive to what kids need at every level of development, and what teachers are looking for, and what we're about here. So I really thank you for all this information.
Yeah. And the one thing I'd say is that sometimes I think people are afraid to sing, or they don't sing, or they don't think that they have the knowledge to do this. But all of it is really about, again, being playful, having presence, connecting. So any parent, any person can do it. If you walk into any classroom and start to sing, the kids are going to turn and start to look, right? And so it's the same at home. Those activities can be connected anywhere, and anyone can certainly adapt. If you think of any song that you can adapt it to being playful with kids.
Oh, yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for your time and for this great information. I learned a lot just sitting here, so
well,
really appreciate you.
Thank you. We appreciate it, and have a wonderful day.
You as well. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.